This is a sixth module, fifth module, but now the modules are smaller. Festivals dance. This there's one big topic, dance. Festival small topic, puppetry small topic. Same way now every module has one big, two small. For example, next one will have music, martial arts, theater. They're all are small. So we'll see what we can cover. Dance is the last big one. Basically, when we talk about the topics, when we talk about the topics of uh, art and culture, architecture and art, the concept of sculpture, painting, sculpture, and dances, six schools of philosophy. Thereafter, for example, you have the concept of music, numismatics. Then you have the other bigger topics such as foreign traveler and literature. So after we have smaller modules. Today we start one of them, for example, puppetry, festivals. You have theater, martial arts. Then you have UNESCO, GI tags, classical language. Then awards, institutions. Small topics. Uh, the out of this you get mains and prelims questions both. This is more PT oriented in that sense. Extra class this Saturday, 17th is going to be officially the last class. Then maybe not Saturday. I'll tell you how long we need extra class according to what we complete till 17th. That I will tell you. That is on me. Where which type of questions do UPSC ask from art and culture based on emerging cultures or engage? There's no, it's not environment and ecology that you can decide that. Static also comes, current affairs also comes. Current affairs is becoming more and more important that way, but static also comes that way. Classical musical instruments will do here. So small topics, there are multiple which will do here and there. For example, ports, pottery. As if I'm not there in that. Do art and culture anthropology optional overlap? No. Thereafter, small topics, there are multiple which we'll cover. That is not an issue. UNESCO, tangible, intangible. Once folk painting, sure, folk painting here, Madhubani and all. Regional art also we do, regional architecture. We'll do in universities, ancient universities. Then one topic here, science and technology. Thereafter, sun temples, very small topics. And then will come current affairs, which we will discuss separately. So, cinema not important. Six schools of philosophy taught. Read the paper, read the slide, what is written on it. Folk painting is more of current affairs topic. No, that is not true. Cinema, circus, and all are useless topics. They don't need to worry about them. Okay, now we can start Buddhist mudras again. Not any of purpose to you. Net, it is net. In UGC net, you will get a question there, not here. One you should know Abhay mudra. That's it. Okay. So we start. once having done the big three in that regard, architecture, painting, sculpture, and we've already done Buddhism, Bhakti, and Sufi is already done. And in a way, Buddhism, Jainism, we've already covered under ancient India. So the big topics, only some are left. One big with a combination of others we'll do. That we'll see how to go about it. Calendars I've already done with you. Numismatics is called coins. So we'll do that. So calendars we already done. All Saka, Vikram, all. Nothing more needs to be done in that. As it is, you don't need to get caught up in festivals. Don't need to get caught up here. In any descriptive topic, I'll tell you what to do. So we start our first big topic, and here you have a chance of mains level questions coming. Whilst in others that would not be true because you would need to just know the state. Dances, there are two. There are two types. One is called classical dance, and the other one is called folk dance. Now, to be very clear, this is the area from which questions will come. No prelims questions from this area. Why not? If it is mains, PT is already there. That is why I don't write these things, because you all get different wrong conclusions in that regard. So classical dances is where we will concentrate. 8 classical dances. Folk dances is something which you only cover after you have covered the whole syllabus. This is a very big area, not worth it in any way or form. I will do certain in class, certain will be indicated. If you can remember them, that is okay. But folk dances is more interviewish thing, that you know the folk dances of your state. When we talk about dances, 8 classical dances where the questions are coming from. Be it the mains level questions or be it the PT questions, all have mostly hovered around the classical dances in that regard. As you will see by Wednesday, I will show you the basic areas which is there generally. So be very clear, be very, very clear that folk dances is something which we don't really care about too much. And I have a basic slide about it. We'll talk about it when we'll reach there. So the first discussion we have is about dances. Now, dance is something which is indicated in Lakhudiyar, in Bhimbetka, which means that early men and women were involved in the art of dancing. Even Harappan civilization has the dancing girl. But there are two texts which are actually going to discuss the concept of dance properly. Now, here we have to discuss that aspect. First things first. What is dance? What is dance? Can everybody tell me what is dance? Come on. Body moves, art, movement of body, representation, express happiness. Kumar Lakshana, form of art, expression, movement of body parts with beats, rhythmic, local form of motion, movement based on body, movement on music. Okay. Now, a word movement is used by you quite a lot. So if I have music playing and I run, which is movement in a rhythmic manner, does it become dance? No. So And when I'm happy, when I'm smiling, or I'm crying, am I dancing? Again, no. So what you have done is you have split up the two and you're telling me separately. See, according to Natya Shastra, which is a text by Bharata Muni, and please don't read this section out of Nitin Singhania. He has some issue with linking these two words with masculinity, femininity. That is not true. One is called Lasya, the other one is called Tandava. According to him, when these two meet, you get dance. You get dance. Wherein Lasya is expression and emotion, story. Tandava is rhythmic movement. Meaning only when emotion and movement come together, you get dance. Now, again, as I'm telling you already, and it's a very simple point I'm trying to make, that Nitin Singhania talks about how Lasya is the feminine aspect, Tandava is the masculine. That is not true. That is a very gendered, very misogynistic way of dividing how Natya Shastra is talking about it. Lasya is emotion, Tandava is rhythmic movement. The movement part, the bodily movement, I will rather say movement with music or without music, which conveys a story and emotion expression, is called the concept of dance. A child crying for toy in shopping mall also has movement and some sort of sad expression on his face. Is that also dance? You tell me, is it dance? And essay, there is actually a saying that if you start to do too much tantrum, your parents will say, Kathakali mat karo. That don't do this stand up which you are doing. You would have heard this expression for sure. A child crying for a toy also has an aspect of dance. He doesn't know it. So why not? If he is doing it in a rhythmic way, in a predictable manner, sure, why not? Without music, why? You only need music to dance? That is again not true. Again, stop acting like an American. अच्छा, बच्चा रोता है तो क्या डांस बोलते हैं उसको? Now you're asking me this question. Either you're trying to push a hard question to me for which I already have an answer, but I don't get it. What is the point of that question? You know that a child crying and doing some movement is not dance, and if you don't know what is dance, then there's a problem. It can't be that you've not seen dance. Can't be. So don't act like you don't know it. I'm giving you technical terms related to it, but that does not remove the aspect related to the fact that there is something called dance. So yes, why not? If a child is crying and is doing it in a rhythmic manner, it may be a dance, and that is why the proverbial expression of not doing tandav or doing it. So it's not making it more complicated. These questions, I don't know where they come from. Just applied academic level understanding as well as what is known as not dance. Again, don't apply it. You are basically, what you're doing, the equivalence of what you're doing, Aditya, is that you're saying, I told you that fire burns. You're like, okay, academic level knowledge, fire burns. Let me put my hand on it and check if it burns or not. That is what you're doing basically. So the aspect here is put academic level knowledge, sure, but Lasya Tandava has a way. Who is Bharta Muni is a person. That's it. As I said, it may be dance. Dance is anything which you think of it is. The music is not something prerequisite. It is not a prerequisite. People dance without music also. Okay. Now, Natya Shastra, Bharta Muni, he talked about, he's the first one who tried to conceptualize what dance should be. Now, this still Lasya is a very big word, Tandava is a very big word. That is why there's a book called Abhinay Darpan, written by Nandi Keshwar. And he tried to complicate it more. He said that these two ways of division not do justice to the expression of dance. So he used the words Natya, Nrita, Nritya. Natya, Nritya, Nrita. Lasya Tandava is denoting to grace, bhav, ras, abhinay, which is acting, along with emphasis on rhythmic movement, and which is Tandava. Now, Abhinay Darpan goes a step further, wherein he divides it into further. Natya is Nritya, Nrita. See, Nritya is the rhythmic movement. Natya, this is basically as same as Tandava. Natya is the storytelling. And Nritya is the sentimental, emotional part. So basically, what Nandi Keshwar has done, he's split up Lasya into two. So you have Bharta Muni, who talks about two, Lasya and Tandava. On the other hand, Nandi Keshwar, what he's done is he's split up into three. You have a Nrita, which is nothing but Tandava. Then you have Natya and Nritya. These two together are basically Lasya. This is the acting part, and this is the expression part. This is the expression part. Is Nritya like Lasya? No, Lasya is basically Natya and Nrita both together. It's both together. So basically, what Nandi Keshwar in Abhinay Darpan has done, has split up Lasya. Not very difficult. Why are we having this discussion? Because you can get a question in the examination. What is the, or what are the basic elements related to dance, or what are basic components of dance? Okay. Now, scientists, ISRO scientists. Difference between expression and acting. Acting also includes expressions. So there are two things. First, the acting which you are doing here, which is that I don't know the difference between expression and acting, and the other would be the expression on your face. So when you go to your mother and you want a phone, so you acting karta, being helpful, doing the chores of the house, that is acting. Expression is when you get the phone in your hand, that is expression. So natya means showing dance through acting. No, showing see, now this is the problem now. You all are products of Bollywood dances, which basically are without any, जिसको बोलते हैं सिर पैर नहीं है. There's no head and tail to what they do. A dance is there because a dance is there. Classical dances are mostly called recitals. They express, for example, the Mahabharata or the Ramayana or some story. So it may come as a shock to all the Americans here who've just landed from New York that there can be a dance which has expression also and can tell you a story also. So it's not difficult, and you know what is acting and you know what is expression. And stop asking me literally zero IQ questions wherein you are asking, acha, acting to expression ke bina ho hi nahi sakta. This is what you're basically asking me. Then what? So let's do one thing. Let's go back and beat up Nandikeshwar because he was dumb to talk about this like this. But to be very honest, there can be expression without acting. There can be acting without expression. All the modern actresses are like that only. And thereafter, you have movement without expression and acting. So to be very honest, acting is totally very difficult to do. Expression and acting both are very difficult to do. And movement add to it is very difficult. That is why classical dances are very, very difficult. So I'm not going to waste our time in discussing what is the difference between that. Okay. Acting come under drama. Bharatnatyam consists body. We come into Bharatnatyam. Okay. Again, too long a discussion for something quite straightforward. Acting movement that can tell us about story. Again, you are making it difficult. That it is straightforward. Milk, tea, sugar. Tea bag, milk and sugar together make tea. But now what you're asking me is, milk can also be milk. Tea without milk can also be there. Sugar is in itself an entity. Stop it. Simple point. I've already put in too much time. There are two ways in which the way the texts divide how dance is considered. One is Natya Shastra, which talks about Lasya Tandava, and the other one is three elements Nrita, which is basic dance steps, devoid of any expression or mood. Natya comes in when storytelling comes in a dance recital, and when sentiment and emotions are expressed through dance, it is called Nritya. So we now move to the 8 classical dances which we have to cover. Now, a very standard prelims related question, is dance state. Standard. Bharatanatyam, Tamil Nadu, Kuchipudi, Andhra Pradesh, both in from Kerala. Thereafter, Odisha, Manipur, UP, and Assam. They would not. They are called classical because they're recognized by the Ministry of Culture, not by Sahitya Academy. This is a very standard question. Folk dances are regional. They remain within the region. Classical dances are recognized by the Ministry of Culture for their national importance, and international they are also practiced. Classical dances have a very long story, a very long history, and mostly are related to certain traditions which were in the old tradition. Folk dances are known within the state border. Okay. Yashgana is a theater form, not a dance form, which we'll discuss. Okay. This is the first standard thing, which is dance and state. 50% of the questions can be done by this only. 50% of the questions can be done by this only, because from match the following to any standard question, if you remember this much, you will remember half of it what you have to. However, because we get statement based questions, you also need to know other aspects, because that will help you. If you gave the first PTS, you will realize that Bharatnatyam was asked through a statement based question. That is the type of question which can come, wherein you need to know the origin, most unique element. Sorry, I am pointing to Sangeet Academy under Ministry of Culture. Yes, sure, why not? I know that it is under the Ministry of Culture, but that is an academy. The ministry gives a different type of recognition. So I know that it is under the Ministry of Culture. You are talking about a subset. I'm talking about the main body. Origin, unique element, and the basic steps or features. Dance and state is not just Gulam for PCS exams. UPSC is also previously asked a very straightforward question. ODC, it was written straightforward. The state was asked. See, there are two aspects here. From here, you can get mains questions. But this is a very standard question. This is a very standard question which is asked everywhere. This is the least you should know, which is the state of the classical dances. So I'm telling you what type of questions can be asked. UP, Uttar Pradesh, UP. Okay. Now we've discussed the components. Now we've discussed the basic states. Now I'm going to go into this. We are going to analyze every dance, and thereafter on one slide I'll put in the basic things which you should know, and under origin, unique element, and basic features in that regard. So the first one is these all are classical dances. Yes, the first one is Bharatanatyam. Now the name itself coming from Tamil Nadu, the Bhav Rag Tal, which is the Bharata part, which is the music part, and Natyam means to dance. The most important element about Bharatanatyam, there are three things which are quite unique to it. Before we go into that, standard things, E. Krishna Iyer is the one who revived this form. Rukmani Devi Arundale is the one who is the most popular one who practices it. Now comes the origin. Now, when we talk about the origin of Bharatanatyam, it is related to the temple tradition, or what is called Sadir or Dasi Attam. This is the first thing which you need to know. Now, when we talk about Sadir and Dasi Attam, this is basically the concept of Devdasi. The concept of Devdasi. So, temples used to employ a lot of different people. One employment was women who used to dance on different occasions, and they were known for being the Devdasi, which is that they're the Dasi of the Deva, and therefore they dance in the name of God. However, Sadir is when there is only one, and when it's a proper group dance, it's called Dasiyattam. Now, over a period of time, Devdasi tradition, Dasiyattam tradition became problematic because women were allowed to enter into it but were not able to exit it. And by the time we come to the colonial period, it had corrupted into a little bit of exploitative system. And therefore, it was the British who banned the Devdasi tradition, the Sadiri tradition. But the dance tradition with it could also die because it was banned. So it was E. Krishna Iyer, K. Krishna Iyer, E. Krishna Iyer, who basically revived this form after the independence and made it what it is today. And Rukmani Devi Arundali was the one who made it very popular across the world. Now, first is its problematic origin, which again we know, we have seen, and we have some idea about, wherein the tradition is related to a temple tradition but becomes problematic over a period of time. Now, the first thing. Second thing is unique features. Now, when we talk about unique features of this dance, the first is called the bent knee. This dance is quite difficult to do because of the fact that in most of the postures of this dance, you need to have the bent knee in order to make sure that the proper form is followed. Thereafter, you have the second one, which is the Tamil silk, the Kanjivaram silk itself, which is known to be, and every state has its own sari, and therefore the Tamil silk sari, the Tamil Nadu silk sari, which is used in this, is iconic of this area itself. And thereafter, the third is emphasis on hasta mudras, or what we call as hand gestures. Hand gestures. Sonia, I'm not going to write a technical term. It will become difficult for everybody. You may be practicing it, so you know it. Ayata, I know, but it makes it difficult for others to understand. So, three major features here. And other than that, this can be done single as Sadir. It can be done as a whole group itself. But the way this dance is done, it embodies a certain element of the earth also, wherein we call it the dance of how a person embodies fire. So fire is the earthly element expressed, which is that how a fire, when it is in a candle or in a small diya, how it dances with the wind. That is how the dancer dances. And you can see that everywhere the hand gesture matters, and everybody has a separate hastamudra, because hastamudras try to express a certain idea, and the thematic is mostly devotional. The most iconic dance of Bharatanatyam is the most original dance itself. Can you tell me what dance is this? What dance is this? These four elements together. Which dance is this? This is Shiva's Tandava, from where basically the Nataraja sculptures comes in, and it is believed that it is from there that all forms of dance came through when Shiva did the Tandava dance. And again you can see as much as possible the bent knee is followed, and that is a very interesting element in this dance generally. So it manifests fire. Lasya and Tandava both are there. The Kataka Mukha Hasta. This is the Kataka Mukha Hasta, which is the basic mudra which you have. And mostly the weight is on the knee. And you have Yamini Krishnamurti, you have Lakshmi Vishwanathan, and Mrinalini Sarabhai, one of, along with Rukmani Devi Arundale, the most popular dancers in this sector. Are men allowed to dance? Yes. Initially, no. Now all these dance have men. Initially, it was mostly performed by female dancers, which is the origin. You don't need to learn the mudras. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm doing this. See, this is what you need to know for the examination. Prelims, mains, you have to know how to discuss everything in its in entirety in that regard. Origin, Sadir, Dasiyattam, unique element, bent knee, fire dance, hand gestures, though hand gesture is not very unique to it, but every dance has hand gestures, but more emphasis here. And Tamil silk saris. Basic elements, devotional, dancers originally were female, now male also allowed. This is the basic thing which you have to remember. If this is clear, we move to in Kuchipudi. Okay. Now, when we go to Kuchipudi, the name itself comes from a village in Andhra Pradesh, which is the Kuselvapuri or Kuchelvapuram. And the origin of this dance is in the men who used to go around from village to village practicing this dance in different parts of the Andhra Pradesh sector itself. That is why it's called Kuchipudi, coming from the original performers of this what we call as a village itself. Hand gestures represent fire. No, the dance itself represents fire. The dance itself represents fire. The way they dance, it looks like the flame. It's very quick movements, and the movements generally, the bent knee itself is to give them a certain flexibility of upper body, which looks like fire is there. Again, it may go above your head because you are not able to imagine it, but it is true. You can represent earthly elements through an idea of dance and movement. So the fact is that the movement of the dancer looks like how the fire dances in the wind. If you can't understand this point, watch a video of Bharatanatyam, it will make sense to you. So Kuselvapuri or Kuchelvapuram, Andhra village, when we talk about the original performance itself, comes from this village itself. Thereafter, in 17th century, it is Siddhendra Yogi who basically made the rules and regulations of this dance. And most of the theater traditions of Andhra Pradesh used to have this dance inbuilt into it. But it will become properly practiced under the male Brahmins who are called Bhagavatalus, who used to actually do this for God. But later, it was open to women also, not just male Brahmins in that regard. Now, do women perform? Now every dance is performed by male and female. What does earthly element literally mean? Earthly element literally means there are 5 tattvas, which is fire, earth, water, sky, and air. And basically, these all 5 become together. This is the basic 5 elements. In that 5 element is one fire. Okay. Now, when we talk about Kuchipudi, When we talk about Kuchipudi, now only Brahmins allowed. No, initially only Brahmins allowed. When we talk about Kuchipudi, again, it is known for two very important things. Team performance is there, but it has very difficult foot movement. But more than that, you can see automatically that the sari changes. Obviously, it will be Andhra silk now, and the person is standing more upright because the bent knee aspect is not there. And more than that, the dance has a certain storytelling aspect which is quite emphasized about. This is for the people who do not have any idea. The moment of Mahishasur Mardini. Basically, this is Durga and Mahishasur. And therefore, through dance itself, they enact a lot of devotional aspects or even devotional stories in that regard. Now, every dance under Kuchipudi has a certain routine, and that is called Daru. Not Daru, but Daru. Daru is basically a introductory dance routine. What do you mean by introductory dance routine? See, if you have a certain story, will there be actors? Will there be actors in that story? Yes. In dance, is there dialogue? No. In dance, there is music, but no dialogue. Now, if there is no dialogue and there are actors, how would you get to know who is who? Therein comes Daru. Every actor or dancer introduces oneself and their character through a small introductory dance. Small introductory dance. Is this making sense? Is this making sense? 1 second. Do they introduce by speaking or music? Music. Are yaar, again, you are. Have you ever seen a dancer also dialogue something? Why is it that this turns out to be so difficult to understand that there can be only dance also? Daru is specific only to Kuchipudi, not to Bharatanatyam. It is something which is done only here. Daru, a small composition of dance and song specifically choreographed to reveal each character. And therefore, what they embody here is the earthly element, which is earth itself. And Carnatic music is there, Telugu language, obviously. The fact is, the most celebrated is Lakshmi Narayan Shastri. See, again, Kuchipudi, Andhra Pradesh. In song, is there lyrics? No. This is classical dance. See, that is the problem. Now your understanding of dance is so distorted that you think it has lyrics. No, there is no lyrics in classical dances. There's no lyrics in classical dances. The difficult foot movement is also present in Bharatanatyam. Sure, but here it is even more. Foot movement is there everywhere. Now, see, what I'll do is once I've done with certain, I will give you a break. You watch a video. Most of you, unfortunately, this is the future of India. Unfortunately, you have no idea what is classical dance. That is the unfortunate part here, that I have to tell you, no, classical dances don't have lyrics. Classical dances have this. You have never seen it, obviously. And bent knee only in Kuchipudi. Again, Vikram, Vikram, read what is written on the slide. Some of you listen, some of you only look. What is written on the slide? When I'm saying it is a unique element of Bharatnatyam, then why would I write it in Kuchipudi? So please come out of your Instagram type, TikTok type world, and there's a much greater history and culture of India. Unfortunately, you all are acting like Britishers. They knew more about India. That is the basic point. So, origin, are we clear? Okay. Can we move forward? Kuchipudi done. 2 from Kerala now. See, it's not difficult. I'm trying to show you images so that there's a certain visual memory in your mind. If that is working, okay. If not, whatever I'm writing on this slide, again, I should not be doing this because it is literally making notes for you. This should be your aspect, but I'm doing it. Separate issue altogether. But the basic point is Bharatanatyam, Kuchipudi, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, we have the origins, we have the unique elements, and we have the basic features. Can we move forward? Okay. Now, the next two come from Kerala. One is called Kathakali, and the other one is Mohini Attam. Mohini Attam. This is also. Now, what is the difference between classical tribal folk dance? Again, either you're sleeping or you're not listening to me. I told you folk and tribal dances are tribal folk dances, are regional, region specific to a tribe. Classical dances are across India, across the world, practiced in the same way. So it is about recognition, it's about the coverage, it's about the scale. Had the discussion 15-20 minutes back. Kathakali, Mohiniyattam. Now, both the Kerala traditions, there is a very specific thing. Kathakali is only done by men and Mohiniyattam is only done by women. And this is something where the division is. This is where the division is. And that division till today stands. Till today, this is very specific, wherein the Kathakali part and the Mohiniyattam part, male and female never changes. All male, all female dance till today. Violation of right to equality. Beautiful. दिमाग लगा दिया अपना. Sure. Violation of right. Let's file a petition, Prashant. Chalo. Mohiniyattam should be open for men also. When I discuss the features with you, you will do Mohiniyattam first. That is when we will talk about violation of right to equality. The origin of the dance is in certain mythology, and therefore it has to be a woman because it is the dance of the Mohini, which is an enchantress, which is Lord Vishnu's avatar. So, no, I am an advocate, sure. So, you will perform Mohiniyattam in the Supreme Court with me and show that men can also do Mohiniyattam. Yes, I'll do it with you. And we'll talk about right to equality, how a certain dance has a certain expression. This constitutionality, this overconfidence is where we all go. So, Mohiniyattam is the dance of the enchantress. Men also should do it. We should do it. Perfect. And Kathakali is all men, so it should be done by women also. Done. We will file a petition. You're an advocate, we'll file a petition. But we would have to perform in court itself how this is going to work. Do it with me, Prashant. बोलने से नहीं होगा, करना पड़ेगा. Okay. I will make the judge also dance. Okay. Kathakali. Let's the judge also perform with us. यही contempt of court ही बच गया है, वो भी करवा लेते हैं. ठीक. Kathakali. Okay. When we talk about Kathakali, most of the dances of Kerala come out of the idea of what we call as the traditions which are there on the ground. For example, Kudiyattam is a Sanskrit drama tradition and Kalripat is a martial arts tradition. And the dance elements which are taken from these lower on the ground, on the ground, what we call as different traditions. So it has nothing specific with any village or performer. It is just that it is an amalgamation of different elements. Now, Kathakali went into obscurity. It will be taken out from obscurity, both Kathakali and Mohiniyattam, by a freedom fighter, V.N. Menon. And he will revive it to the point that today it is considered one of the most difficult, but also most interesting dances of all. Because it is all male and it is known for three very important unique features. One is the headgear. The other one is the makeup. And the other one is the costume. And what Kathakali is generally known for, is that there is the foot movement is extremely difficult, wherein you have the thumping of the floor, and that way Kathakali is quite difficult in that regard. And more than that, it is the performer's commitment that he or she till today, or rather he is till today trying to keep this tradition alive. Now for you, Kantara is Bhutokala, that's a separate issue, that's a separate state, don't do that. When we talk about is Kathak or Kathakali same? This is Kathakali and this is Birju Maharaj. This is Kathak. Okay. Now, this color which you see on the face may be meaningless to you right now. But every dancer first has a certain specific costume, which in itself is quite difficult. Second, the eye movement. The eye movement in Kathakali is also very, very difficult. And this type of headgear and makeup is basically to convey the characters again. As I say, for you, all of them are the same. And that is why today, if I make you sit in a Kathakali expression, you will not understand anything. Literally not understand anything. But each of them have a certain significance. And that significance can be understood through their costume. So if I go into a certain aspect of their basic what we call as makeup, you will understand something. See, yellow color is mostly used for women and saints. If you see yellow, it will be women or saints. If it is black, it is evil. If it is red, it is evil. Now comes the different green colors. Now, if you have a green color, this is basically a beard. This shows higher consciousness. But if you have this red color next to you, it means royalty. If there's red color next to your what we call as nose, it means royalty. This is a person who's non-royal. This is the person who's a royal person. So every color has a certain purpose. Nobility, divinity, virtue. Green color just it is good. Black indicates evil. Red indicates evil. Red besides the nodes indicate royalty, saint and women. White beard is higher level of consciousness. And therefore, if you look at this basic expression, is this person a king or not? Can anybody tell me? Is this person a king or not? This person. He isn't. Because though he has higher level of consciousness, he is good. The red color is not next to his nose. I hope that you know the difference between nose and mouth. And therefore, some will say no, red color is there because that is next to his mouth. There has to be red color here so as to become royalty. You can see again a man is acting like a woman and yellow color is used in that regard. This is a more interesting set. This is again how men dress up as females. Nowadays it could be anything. Till very recently it is all male. Pure Kathakali will always have all male tupe or what is called as performance. Now this is a very interesting set of personalities wherein you can see you have a saint, you have evil, you have the king, and then you have three men who are not kings but good people related to him. Beard means generally that they are very learned and therefore if you now understand the colors, Kathakali recital will start to make sense to you. Basically, this is where the acting part comes in. And this is why these dance tupes and these performances are extremely intricate in that regard. So when we talk about Kathakali, the origin is in Kudiyattam, which we'll discuss, and Kalari Pat, which we'll again discuss later. And when we talk about unique elements, you have makeup with colors having significance, eye and foot movement, thereafter you have costume and the idea of what we call as headgear, basic elements, storytelling via dance, and one more important aspect which is there, one more important is the language which is used, called Mani Pravalam. In Kathakali recitals, Mani Pravalam is something which is a mixture of Malayalam and Sanskrit. That way, it is quite important, because this means that the Sanskritic traditions of North India were percolating into this sector, and in that regard, you have a certain idea where these two are mixing together. You have Mani Pravalam, which is Sanskrit plus Malayalam. Okay. Kathakali clear? Everybody? You don't need to remember the colors and this is not going, nobody's going to ask you this. I'm trying to give you a certain understanding. That's it. You are not just studying here, you are trying to learn India. This is part of your culture. So it may be something, go beyond, just try to go beyond your basic utilitarian mindset to just do exam orientation. We're trying to do something more here. What is the question, Pooja? I have no idea. Which festival they dance like this? In which month? It's not specific to a festival. It is not specific to a month. It is proper dance recitals happen. There is no occasion to be taken. It's not a harvest festival dance. Okay. Utility of open air theaters with respect to Kathakali. Again, stand random question. It can be in an indoor thing, please. There's no open air something like that. Okay. What are the stories about? Again, the standard devotional stories, either related to a certain epic of the Kerala sector, sometimes Ramayana, sometimes Mahabharata, all are represented. Okay. Kuchipudi is done in Tirumala week, sir. Yes, sure. Today. Origin is not in a specific period. Kuchipudi is going around the villages. It was a way of getting certain employment and a part of a larger culture. So again, don't tell me things which you do today. Unfortunately, today we need some occasion to do it. There are certain theater forms which are done very specifically that we'll discuss. Okay. Nitin Singhani has too much information. Sure, I know that. If you can remember this much, you can write any mains answer. If you can remember this much, you can generally answer any prelims question. If you start to go into every term and terminology related to each one of them, then you will actually go mad. Because he has given every terminology related to each and every dance, which makes no sense. Okay. Now we go to Mohiniyattam. Now when we go to Mohiniyattam has a very specific origin. And Mohiniyattam is the dance which is related to a certain mythological story. And therefore, the dance has a very different form to any other dance which we've discussed till this point. Now, I have no idea how many of you know the story of the churning of the ocean, or what is called Samudra Manthan. I don't know if I ask you also, you will act like you know it. But the dance has its origin in the story of Samudra Manthan. Don't know, sir, don't know, sir, don't know, sir. Okay, perfect. Now, the basic story is the context of this dance. The context of this dance is related to what we call as the Amrit Kalash, which is the immortality portion. So it was believed that once you churn the oceans, you would get what we call as Amrit, and the Deva and the Rakshasas both came together to do it. Now, what came out first was basically poison when the Samudra Manthan happened. And when poison came out, everybody said, who will take it? So it was basically given to Lord Shiva. And people say that he drank it. No. Lord Shiva drank it and kept it here. He has never, for centuries, for mythologically, for Yugo, he's been holding the poison here. That is why he's called Nilkant. That's why he's called Nilkant, because his kant, which is his thorax, is blue because of that wish being here. So that is called the Nilkant story, which comes out of the Samudra Manthan. After that, you get Amrit. But when the Amrit came out, the Rakshasas, and which is the evil and good, both were now in line to drink it. So the Devas went to Lord Vishnu and said that if the Rakshas will drink this, we will never be able to kill them, evil will prevail. So in that context, Lord Vishnu takes the avatar of Mohini. And under Mohini avatar, he becomes the enchantress. Enchantress means the seductress. He basically puts them into a Maya and Moh and in a certain type of enchantment. And it is believed that he took two kalashes with him. One had the Amrit, the other one had the standard Amrit-like potion. So it is believed that through this dance, he enchanted the Rakshasas. And from one hand, he gave Amrit to the Devas. And on the other hand, he gave the non-Amrit, or the what we call as a standard portion, to the Rakshasas. One of the Rakshas saw this happening and he went into the Deva line. And that is what we know today as the Nagra Rahuketu, wherein as soon as he drank it, he became immortal. So Lord Vishnu basically cut his head, and then the head is Rahu, the body is Ketu. So that dance, that story is where this dance comes from. Now, if you understand the origin, again, you don't need to know this story. The story basically explains the way this dance is done. If you have to enchant somebody, will your movements be very heavy? Will your foot movement be very thumpy? Will you try to do quick movement in that sense? No. And therein comes the idea of Mohiniyattam. Mohiniyattam is the dance with the iconic white Kasavu sari of Kerala. It is a dance of grace, elegance, and very slow foot movement. The foot movement in Mohiniyattam is very, very slow. There's no thumping. There's a ghungru, but there's no thumping. Unlike Kathakali, where the thumping is quite a lot. That is why Mohiniyattam is 99% done by females. So for the right to equality people, please understand this. This dance is done by a woman because it is originally believed that Lord Vishnu took the incarnation of Mohini, and therefore it is a dance of the enchantress. So Mohiniyattam is the enchantress dance, and it was developed by Vadivalu in 19th century. It will be taken up by the Travancore kings in that regard. Again, V.N. Menon is the one who will revive it after it will become very obscure during the colonial period. Kalyani Amma is the one who basically took it out of obscurity. Now, absence of thumping of footsteps, and footwork is very gentle footwork in that regard. And that is what makes Mohiniyattam, along with the Kasavu. This is the Kasavu saris. Very iconic saris, mostly very expensive because this gold border could be actual gold also. And other than that, the Mohini dance, very graceful eye action also, which is eye movement also, and is exactly, Kasavu is Kerala silk, but Kasavu is a type of sari, white and gold border sari is called Kasavu. You have dhotis also of that. Now, the lasya aspect is very, very dominant in Mohiniyattam. Costume of white principal color, presence of gold borders, brocade saris, which is basically the concept of Kasavu. And thereafter, no elaborate facial makeup. Dancers mostly wear ghungru in her ankle, and generally you will see that the music is also produced by the enchantress herself. There will be not very heavy mridangam and all. it will be very slow dance, slow music, and the ghungru being the principal way in which the music is also produced. So you will see veena, drums, flute, but no mridangam. Mridangam is a very heavy song which is very heavy, what we call as tabla like object. It is basically the tabla of South India, wherein it will in turn break the enchant in that regard. And you have, for example, Jayaprada Menon, very famous today. So we'll add it here. Mohiniyattam, origin, the churn of ocean, mythological story, uniqueness, gentle footwork, no elements for them, no makeup like Kathakali, and thereafter Kasavu saris, lasya aspect very high vis-a-vis Tandava, basic feature, hand gestures, etc. So I think you will be able to identify Kathakali and Mohiniyattam if they give you statement-based questions. Yes? Okay. Now we move out of Kerala and go to Odisha. And Odissi is in that regard considered the most what we call as related to certain politics of this region. And there is a position in Odissi which has its origin in Odissi, which every dance other than it uses. It's called the Tribhanga position or the Tribhaga position. Tribhanga, which is the most common dance form which is used today, is actually has its intrinsic. It is intrinsic to Odissi. It is intrinsic to Odissi that Odissi is the dance where we see its origin. Now, Odissi dance was done by a very specific lower Varna community under King Karavela, the Maharis of Odisha. However, when Vaishnavism started to come in, because Karavela is a Jain, so he did not care, but